Hey, what's up everyone? So today I want to go through Final Cut Pro 10, can be 10.4 and above, there's no real issue here, and Compressor and how it all kind of works together. Our main goal is to get out some AVCintra100s and some XDCAMs. So in the UK you need a slate, in Europe you don't, and I'm going to go through that very quickly. But what you'll be able to do is download these presets and basically fire up a good old-fashioned compressor. Grab those presets and stick it into the custom section here. So that's your presets ready to go. Next is to fire open Final Cut and go into your presets, add destination, compressor settings, and then that will literally fire up and show you the ones that we had. And if you highlight all three of them, I'll show you what happens. It becomes a bundle. So you can do that, or you can do one by one. If you do a bundle by mistake, grab the guys and drag them out. Wherever you put them in this list is showing the priority when you go back in the Final Cut 10. So if you want to do them all the time, stick them up the top. If you want to do them down, not as much, stick them down the bottom. So I normally put it right at the top. I don't need DVD anymore. Who's doing DVDs? Oh, that must have taken so much development to do. Anyway, so that's that section there. If you come up to the exports, you'll actually see them here as well. So well done if you got to there. So what I want to show is in Compressor, what's actually happening. So let's just pick on the EU. These EU and the UK are exactly the same as the presets. I just renamed them for simplicity. So you can open up the UK XDCAM one, come over to General, and all this is quite interesting. So what happens is that Final Cut Pro feeds Compressor all the data, start time codes, frame rate. So if you're trying to do this, I like to keep it as automatic because whatever I'm doing in Final Cut, I want it to be able to follow through here. So that makes life a lot more easier. 25 frames because we're in Europe at this stage. The color space again is driven by Final Cut, and here is where you have your XDCAM 422. So time code, I'm going to go over this very quickly. You can get yourself in a bit of a pickle here. So automatic is the best one, again driven by Final Cut, so keep it as automatic. Audio, 2 discrete channels and mono. This is kind of the makeup of XDCAM itself. If we look at AVCintra100, it either does multi-track or 2 mono tracks. Multi-track would be a single stereo track, which I kind of recommend. If your supplier wants split tracks, then do 2 monos. So completely up to your digital distributor. Look at their white pages. Have a quick look at that first, because this is not a generic, this is a generic starting point. And then it's up to you to have a chat to the guys and look at it. So that will work there. So in Compressor, that's all you really need to do. So close the old goal down. And now if I look at, say, I'm going to spit out a UK one. Well, there's our clock, there's our black, there's our start of commercial. And this is where the freeze is, and it goes out to here. So let me just straighten that in. It goes out to here, right? So I put on my broadcast filter, which we talked about in previous ones. Have a look at the top to have a look at that video. Anyway, this is really important. If you want to start at 09:59:50, which is what happens in the UK, you need to follow this time code here. If it's not there, click on your setting, come up to your little effects one and click modify. This is where you can actually do the overriding of it. The commercial is starting in at 10 hours, but the run up of that is 10 seconds. So that's why we're doing here. Make sure it interlaces as well, because it will follow through into progressive, and everything else should be quite simple that way. So once you're done, you can click on that guy and do your export, and you can do your UK XDCAM. Make sure it is forward slashes, not kind of obliques. So, sorry, hyphens, not forward slashes. Wow, I need more coffee. And all this metadata goes along for the ride, but the digital distributors don't look at it at this stage. It's a really interesting thing to open up and explore at a future date. This is all telling me it's 25 frames, it's 1080, it's discrete, and this is the duration of the entire file itself. So if I click next, it's going to ask me where I'm going to go. So I'll put it out to my desktop and off to the races. In the most recent versions of Final Cut 10, you can actually do multiple exports, which is pretty cool. So that preset there, you can do as a droplet, you can do whatever you want to do, okay? It's completely up to yourself. Now up in here, you can see it's exporting out, so that's great. What we will do is also do a AVCintra100. AVCintra100 is the codec that the Digital Production Partnership, or the DPP, has put together to kind of say this is a good starting point. In the UK, ITV, Sky, I think Channel 5 and S4C all accept AVCintra as the DPP spec. or AS11 is another kind of way it's looking at. So we'll again click on our timeline here. We'll do we'll add in AVCintra so we don't get an overwrite in the timeline in the desktop. So highlight that, come up through here, and AVCintra100. So that's all following that, and export. So Avid ended up buying a company a couple of years back that done all this MXF stuff, which was quite cool. So now it's embedded. You may need the Pro Codecs. So that's something that you have to look at. If it's not in there, just search Apple Pro Codecs. I'll stick a link in the comments below, and that will allow you to open up these codecs if you don't have them already installed. Another cool thing is that I always open up this and see start is at 095950. Duration's this. So if you have any problems and it's not really adding up, that's something I always go and have a quick look at this as well. So let's hide Final Cut 10, and we will then go to our desktop. Here's our AVCintra. So first off the bat, we do my initial QC. Media info is your friend. 140 megabits, all cool here. Click on more information. What we're looking for is top field first. That's fantastic. And duration is correct as well. So that's working out well. And then down the bottom, there's my time code because it's taken it from Final Cut 10 because I put it in automatic mode. There's the time code there as well. So that one's looking pretty cool. Look at my XDCAM. There's two things to really watch out for XDCAM. There's the dual monos that we mentioned before, which will equalate a stereo pair. And now through here in power, we want 3 and 12 on the GOP structure. We are looking for interlace and top field. That's great. Looking for the time code. That's great as well. And the 2 audios. So that is for a UK one. You can fire the old girl up and have a look down here. There's my time code again, and it should be hitting in at 10 hours. Again, look at your digital distributor. If they're happy to receive in at all zeros and it works for them, you'll set that in Final Cut 10, and then your preset will follow it for the ride. So that's the reason why automatic's so cool. Okay, so let's have a quick look at Europe one as well. Europe is great. Majority of the regions in Europe just want what we call a cut to length. Now, cut to length is just the commercial. Wall-to-wall audio, so audio starting on the first frame, finishing on the last. So it's a kind of a complete one. So super easy. Majority of Europe is stuck to XDCAM. DPP's not tremendously embedded in the European marketplace, but that's totally fine. XDCAM is a suffice format. It works well. So all you'd need to do is that you click on your one you want to export out. What I would do here is I would come to my sequence. I'd click modify, and it would be starting in at all the zeros. So if I do all the zeros there, I left that deliberately just to show you. There it is, all the zeros. It's coming out at 30 because it's a cut to length. If I now go to my export, look at my Europe XDCAM, it's going to be called Europe, go to desktop, and out we go. This will fire out pretty quickly because there's not much to really do, 30 seconds. And again, check with your digital supplier if they want 1 hours starting, if they want 10 hours starting, if they're happy with all the zeros, then that's totally cool. But this exercise was to show you that if we look at our Europe file, drag it into media info, there we go, that's looking good, all looking good. Down to the bottom, there's all the zeros. So hopefully that little tip helps and is making life a bit more easier. The thing about the UK to Europe, UK is requiring a clock via ClearCast submissions, and the rest of them kind of cut to length. So this little secret button, a lot of my friends ask me, oh, how do you change the time code? They come and try to click it. That's where you set the sequence setting itself. So a great little tip, and if you know what it is, well done. If it's brand new to you, welcome. Again, guys, I hope this helped, and I hope you're having a great day.